let's take a look at layers within Affinity Photo. Hello, welcome back to my introduction to Affinity Photo. I'm Ian Butterfield. In this video, we're going to look at different types of layers within Affinity. And the way we're going to do that is I'm going to do a very short tutorial on how to montage two images together, and as I'm doing that I'll show you and explain the concepts between different types of layers and how we can use them for different things. So let's go over to Affinity. Here on the screen I've got an Explorer window with some images in. Affinity itself, I've got nothing on the screen at the moment. So I'm going to want a background image for this, and I'm going to choose this one of the glacier, and I can just simply drag that to Affinity and it's on there. Now I'm going to want a second image on there to act as a layer above. So I'm going to put this image of a boat onto here. Now, two ways I can bring it in. If I drop it onto the context toolbar or the tabs area here, it will come in as its own document. You can see I've now got two tabs open with this one on its own. I actually don't want that, so I'm going to close that. The other way to bring it in is this time I drag and I just drop it somewhere on top of the existing canvas, and it's come in as its own file. I can now resize this to put it on there. Now I want you to know that at the bottom here our background image came in as a pixel layer. What that means is it's editable. The picture within picture, the boat, came in as an image layer, which gives it certain extra properties, shall we put it that way. So I can do various things with it that I can't do if it was a pixel layer. So let me show you that. I'm going to duplicate that by right-clicking on it and selecting duplicate. So I've got two versions of it now on there. I'm going to hide the bottom one for the time being, and this top one, right click and rasterize, which will make it into a pixel layer. And can you see with that selected, I've no longer got access to things like stroke. I've lost the option to replace the image. If I go over to this one, hide the pixel based one, we can see the options that we've got. We've got replace image. I could choose another image to replace it, as simple as that. I can stroke it, which I'm going to do with white, and I'm going to make the width a nice white border on there, and the joins I'm going to have a square, so it sort of gives it a frame on there. If I go over to the pixel based one and hide that, on the pixel one I don't have that option available, but what I can do is I can edit it and I can do adjustments on there. But with the image one I can't. So I'm going to keep the image one for the purposes of this, and I will delete that layer by dragging it onto the trash can at the bottom. So we've got that. Want to add an effect to this, so whilst that's selected I click on effect layer, and the effect I'm going to put on is an outer shadow, and I'm going to just bring out the radius and the offset, a little bit on the intensity as well, and hopefully you can see we've now got this drop shadow on there close. So it just looks like the picture-in-picture image has got a nice little frame to it, and it's it's got a little shadow to separate it from the background. Advantage of it being an image, as I said before, I can now change that with the selection tool active on there. I can say replace image, and I could go to the other iceberg and say open, and you can see all the effects I'd put on it. The stroke around there and the drop shadow have come with it. Now, suppose I want to do something with the background. Maybe I want the background to have a bit of a different colour to it. I can create and use an adjustments layer. An adjustments layer is something which allows me to do a change. So I'm going to do recolor on this. And it comes in with a horrible red on there, which I don't like and don't want. I'm going to go with a sort of sepia on there, bring the saturation right down. So we've got this slight sepia sort of look to it, maybe bring the lightness up a little bit, find exactly the colour I want on there, and that is that. Now, looking at these layers, you can see how this stacks. Imagine each layer as being something that's transparent or partially transparent. The bottom layer is our image. Above that, we've got a transparent layer that maybe, imagine it as something that's coloured, and it's making whatever is below it take on the colour of this adjustment layer. Now, it's non-destructive. If I just double click on that, I could decide that maybe I want it a bluey colour or a green colour, or I could go to a red colour. Actually, I still want the brown sepia tone, so I'm going with that and close that out. Now, I might think, oh, well, can I do something with the picture in picture? So I click on there and go, yes, I want an adjustment layer, and I'm going to make that one black and white, I think. So I do another adjustment layer. This one is a black and white layer. Now, let's just do a few things with this. Play around with the cyan, make that a little bit darker, make the blues a little bit darker on there. I think that's what we want for it. And I can close that. But now, can you see the problem? The problem we've got here is that that adjustment layer is affecting everything below it. So it's affecting our picture in picture, but it's also affecting the background and making that black and white too. We can fix that by right-clicking on the icon and selecting Mask to Below. And what that does is it makes it apply just to the layer that's below it. So I do that. And now we can see the black and white conversion has only happened with the and the picture in picture. The layer below is separate. So we can drop down the arrow, and we can see it's now just part of this layer, so that it's not affecting the items below it. But because this is still an image, look what I can do. I can say replace image. I want to go back to the boat, and all those things are still applying because that has retained the image option on there. So let me recap what we've looked at. When you first open an image, it comes in as a pixel layer. In other words, something that you can edit. If you drag in a different image, if you drag it onto the context toolbars or the tab line there, it will come in as its own entry, a pixel layer, separate image, separate tab to do it. But if you drag it in on top of an existing image, it will come in as an image layer, which is different to the pixel type layer. The advantage of an image layer is you can switch out the image that's in there effectively non-destructively, and you can apply things like stroke borders very easily on that. We've looked at effects, which aren't actually layers, but by clicking on an image and selecting effects, we can apply things such as a drop shadow, which are tied to that particular layer. We've looked at adjustment layers, such as a recolor adjustment, which enabled me to put the background into sepia tone, and a black and white adjustment layer, which I then clipped or assigned to a particular layer rather than to the whole image on there. So that's it. I hope you found that overview of layers within Affinity helpful and has given you a little bit of background on how you might want to use them. So thanks for watching, and until next time, keep making great photos. Bye-bye.